guys, 2015 is very close to ending. We've had a lot of really good, solid movies, and I think I saw at least a reasonable amount this year, so I can actually do a top 10. Like last year, I pathetically did a top 5 because I didn't see enough stuff. But this year, I think I've seen around like 30 movies, so I can do a top 10. So before I start the top 10, I have the honorable mentions. Now the first one goes to Avengers Age of Ultron. Now I was originally planning to put this towards the very bottom of my list, but the second time I watched it through, I noticed a lot more flaws that I noticed before because of my first review for that movie. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a great movie. I had a little bit of flaws, but now watching it over again, I noticed even more, and I don't think it's good enough to be on my top 10, so that's an honorable mention. My second honorable mention goes to The Visit, M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong's comeback. Very good comeback for this director, very good horror movie. My next honorable mention is The Walk, which is from one of my favorite directors, Robert Zemeckis, and one of my favorite actors, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Joseph Gordon-Levitt was one of my favorite performances of this year. And my last honorable mention goes to Spectre. Really good Bond film. I think it's really underrated. I don't know why people are underrating it so much. Yeah, it has a little bit of flaws, but I still think it's a great movie. And now moving on to number 10. Nobody really expected Ant-Man to be all that great. When I saw the trailers for it, I was like, huh, looks fun. Guess it could be good, I don't know. It's kind of like the same deal as Guardians of the Galaxy, because when you're seeing the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, you're like, oh, that looks like a fun, ridiculous movie. That's kind of the same thing that happened with Ant-Man, and Ant-Man actually turned out to be really good. Not as good as Guardians of the Galaxy, but I still think it's a really good movie. It's very funny. Paul Rudd did a great job. I absolutely love Michael Pena in this movie. Ant-Man was just a really clever, fun movie that embraced how ridiculous it was, and it's another really good movie from Marvel. Number 9 is Mr. Holmes. Yes, that movie that had a very limited release, that Ian McKellen played Sherlock Holmes, and he's trying to remember things and stuff, and I thought it was just a really clever movie because I'm a big fan of Sherlock Holmes. I really like the works of Sir Conan Doyle. I really like the character of Sherlock, and seeing him played by Ian McKellen, much older, was really cool, I thought. This movie was way more of a drama than anything else because, like, all the other Sherlock things are, like, very, I guess, exciting. This is more of a very slow-paced drama, and I really like that take on Sherlock Holmes. Number 8 is the Peanuts movie. Yes, I was so worried about this movie because it was made by Blue Sky, but they ended up being so faithful to its source material. I am a huge fan of the Peanuts. I left this movie with a huge smile on my face. They did everything they needed to do. They didn't make any stupid changes to Peanuts that I didn't like. And yeah, Peanuts is a really good animated movie this year. Much better than The Good Dinosaur or Hotel Transylvania 2. Number 7 is Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. I mean, this is the 5th installment to a franchise, and it's still going strong. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation was such a good Mission Impossible movie. It's not my favorite one, but I really like Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Did almost everything right with the exception of that villain. Tom Cruise, he's like 50 now. He's still doing insane stunts like climbing on that plane. What the heck? And I really like the crew in this movie. Simon Pegg is always great in everything. Jeremy Renner's character is also so great. Ving Rhames is hilarious. Rebecca Ferguson, which was one of my favorite parts of this movie, who's definitely going to be a big actress in the future, I can see. She's such a good-looking actress. I have to put that out there as well. Can't wait to see her in more stuff. Number 6 is Bridge of Spies, from my favorite director of all time, Steven Spielberg, and my favorite actor of all time, Tom Hanks. I absolutely love this movie. It's so riveting from start to finish, which was surprising because, in my opinion, talking movies can sometimes be a little bit boring. Like, there are a few times when, say, Mr. Holmes, which I mentioned, that could get a little bit slow at times. That's mainly a talking movie. But Bridge of Spies, to me, was riveting throughout. I was so interested in the entire thing, especially because Tom Hanks does such a great performance. I really hope he gets nominated for Best Actor. Very interesting historic events. Mark Rylance is a very good talent to look forward to in the future. I can't wait to see him play the BFG next year. That's going to be great. And Bridge of Spies didn't disappoint me. And now, The Martian. I was blown away by The Martian. Matt Damon was so funny. I absolutely love how Matt Damon's on this entire planet, Mars. You'd think he'd be all depressed because he was left on Mars, but no, he's so optimistic. He's just having the time of his life there trying to survive. This movie was hilarious, and that's awesome that this movie was played for comedy because they could definitely do something really tragic, but I absolutely love the comedy aspect of this movie. And it still really bugs me that people compare this to Interstellar because they are nothing alike. They just have a few of the cast members. Who cares? The Martian was a masterpiece in my opinion. Such a great movie. I was so pleased by it. Number 4 is Inside Out. Pixar's comeback after all these years. It was actually only 5 years, so... Pixar had so many flops. Like Cars 2 was an awful movie. In my opinion, Brave was pretty mediocre. And they finally brought Pixar back with this movie. Inside Out is one of my favorite Pixar movies. It was emotional, it was heartwarming, it was hilarious. I watched it again and I still loved it. Inside Out does everything an animated movie needs to do. It works for both adults and kids perfectly, which I absolutely love in an animated movie. Inside Out isn't like one of those movies where adults are going to be like, no, I gotta get out of here. It's a movie that everyone can enjoy, kids and adults alike, and it's very clever, and it has a great, great message. Number 3 is that movie I couldn't shut up about for a while, The Last 5 Years. Such a great movie. It's a limited release movie, so probably none of you have really heard about it, but I was blown away by this movie when I first saw it. I have the soundtrack. Let me see if I can call it up. You hear that? I got it on this. It's really great. All of you guys know that I have a huge obsession with Anna Kendrick. She's an angel. She's probably the best human being in the universe, and she's so wonderful and beautiful and gorgeous and amazing. And Jeremy Jordan, I was introduced to him. Such a great actor and singer. Too bad he ended up in that Supergirl show after this. Come on. If I'm ever in like a depressed mood, I'll listen to a song like, I guess, what's one of the sad ones? The next 10 minutes, I can't listen to that without getting watery-eyed. If I'm ever in a good mood, I'll listen to something like Moving Too Fast from Jeremy Jordan, and it's just one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard. I can ramble on about this movie forever. It has a huge impact on me, and yeah, The Last 5 Years. See it if you haven't. The Rocky spin-off with Michael B. Jordan as Adonis Creed. This is a story about Adonis who has nothing in life. His father's gone. He has a passion for boxing. And there's also Sylvester Stallone, who everyone he knows has died. All of his friends are gone. His wife is also gone. And Rocky's an old man, and he trains Michael B. Jordan, and he sort of becomes a father figure to Michael B. Jordan. Such a great movie. The action in this movie blew me away. There's so many tracking shots that were just insane. They had my jaw dropping. After Creed ended, I was just blown away by how great it was. I think I like this more than every Rocky movie, which is really saying something because the first Rocky is a masterpiece. I think Creed is also a masterpiece. I absolutely love Creed. You saw this coming from a mile away. I would be lying to you if I didn't say this was my favorite movie of the year. Star Wars The Force Awakens was just... it was truly an awakening because we had the prequels, which were very, very disappointing movies, and The Force Awakens just brought new life into the Star Wars franchise. The Star Wars franchise is my favorite franchise of all time, and this is the best theater experience I've ever had in my life. I saw it 3 times in theaters. No other movie I did that with this year. Star Wars is very, very close to me. I have a shirt on right now. Star Wars is so close to me. It's a huge part of my life. And this movie, being as amazing as it was, brought tears to my face. Before this movie even came out, I saw the reviews saying it was a great movie. And that brought tears to my face. Star Wars The Force Awakens just did everything it needed to do. Daisy Ridley was incredible in this movie. She is a talent to look forward to in other movies. She is probably one of my favorite actresses now, just from this one movie. Seeing the old cast come back is amazing. Han Solo, Chewie, everybody. Seeing them come back is just the greatest thing. I was sweating during this movie. I was crying. This movie is the best theater experience I've ever had, and if I don't say it's my number 1, I would just be lying. So guys, that's my top 10 of the year. I'm not going to do a top 10 worst because I didn't see enough bad movies this year. I'll try to do that more of that next year because this year I only saw like Pixels and Fan4Stick. And Fan4Stick was one of the worst things I've ever seen, so this year's been so great because it's really the first movie that I've actually been able to see a lot of stuff, and it was so much fun to review all of them for you guys. Such a great experience, and 2015 was a great year for me. And I will see you in the next video. I'm really looking forward to 2016, especially Suicide Squad, and Civil War, and Rogue One. I also have plans for more series next year. I plan to review all the Harry Potter movies leading up to that one movie, Fantastic Beasts. I plan to review all the Spider-Man movies at some point. It's gonna be so much fun, and I can't wait for 2016. It's gonna be such a great year. Okay, see ya. Oh look, Jackson Fulcher called me dead. See, he called me dead, but you can't see it.